What's up, world? It's your girl, Phoenyx Novelle from T.A.G Live Music Artists on the Rise, Mic Check, featuring the one and only Mr. Kelvin Newell from Warren, Ohio. I am in Singapore once again, and I have had the privilege to work with him for the first time. He is a beast on the drums, a vocalist, an actor, just the total package. I love his energy, and it is a pleasure. So I'm here because I want you guys to get to know him while I'm getting to know him too, a little bit more personal about his life, where he was growing up, how it was for him growing up, and how he finally came about to work overseas. So you ready to get to know Kelvin?
I hope so.
Here we go. So Kelvin, tell me a little bit about yourself and what it was like growing up in Warren, Ohio.
Well, I had a pretty normal upbringing. Had a sister, household of four, my mom, my dad, me, and my sister. Suburbs, hoodish type area.
The sub-hood.
The sub-hood.
Okay.
The sub-hood. But I had a pretty normal growing up, upbringing. A lot of church. I was in church my entire life. My mom made sure we stayed in church. That's where I got my love for drums. I started playing. I saw the drums and kind of naturally gravitated towards it. Like, that's it. That's what I want to do. And kind of picked it up pretty naturally. Played it in church, and then went to school. Played in middle school, junior high, and high school. And then I even went on my first tour when I was 14.
Wow,
I did that. There was an organization back in Youngstown and Warren area of Ohio called the Warren Junior Military Band. And what they did was they recruited young players around the area and college players to come in and teach them. So they put together a band for like concert band performances and marching performances. It was probably the most pertinent music experience I ever had in my life. And that's what made me want to be like, okay, I want to do this as a career. Being on the road for the first time, being in a different city every night is like great. Like that's what I want to do. I want to do that. So at an early age, I was exposed to like pseudo this life a little bit.
Okay.
But so I was in high school. I did anything you could get a trophy for in high school doing music for. I got that trophy, whether it be jazz, most improved musician, best drummer, Ohio Solo Ensemble Awards. They had like the Lakeland College up in Cleveland had a jazz fest. And we got a 1, and a 1 is like a superior. Anything you can have like a trophy for, I got it in my house right now.
Yeah.
My mom is still wiping off the dust, shining them up for me. I'm 26 years old, still knocking it off.
Pretty cool.
So yeah, and Warren is a very nice city. Really big in sports. I played sports. I played football for 9 years.
Wow.
And then once I got to high school, you couldn't play football and be a marching band. And both football and marching band in our city are huge entities. People love both the marching bands. So I was like, I love drums more than I love hitting people. So I was like, gotta play drums. Huge sports fan.
Cleveland Cavaliers?
Cleveland Cavaliers, Cleveland Indians, Cleveland Browns, the Cleveland Warriors, the Warriors, not the Warriors, what do they call it? The Gladiators indoor football team, the Cleveland Monsters hockey team, everything Cleveland, and Columbus Blue Jackets hockey, Columbus, Ohio State Buckeyes, go Bucks, OH, oh man, and the Columbus Crew soccer team. But I really don't like Cincinnati. All the Cincinnati teams, the Reds, the Bengals, I don't like them. But I'm a huge sports fan. If you haven't picked it up yet, I'm a sports fan.
He is a sports fan. He's the kind
fanatic.
of person that on stage, I'm sorry, and I'm still kind of new to this band here in Singapore, and even on stage, like when if his team loses, which happens sometimes. I mean, the whole band knows not to really say anything or get too excited around him, because his whole energy just changes. I mean, he still does his job, but he's just like somber, So that was an interesting experience to have.
You saw when the Cavs lost the championship. She came in perfect timing right when the Cavaliers lost the NBA championship to the
I mean, his personality is so big, but to see him just kind of muted was just like interesting,
So, you won't see that very much from me.
No, but
not at all.
I want to know, growing up, okay, I know that you just now said that you decided when you were in church, okay, the drums are for me, but did you have any drummers, like any influences, any like
Absolutely.
famous
Well,
drummers?
first it started with my dad because my dad plays drums and bass and guitar.
Wow.
So he would expose me to this stuff. He'd bring me to the house, play all these old school records and whatnot and tapes. And back then we had tapes, we had cassette tapes, not
Right.
CDs or iTunes. It was cassette tapes. You pop it in, and he'd be like, "Well, that's still high players," or "This is James Brown," or "This is probably been a funk." Like all these great groups, and I had no idea. He would have drums. Like they bought me my first drum set. I was like 4 or 5. They bought it from Toys R Us, and I remember I had the drum set for about a year, and I tore it up. Cause I was playing on it every day. I'd come home, and there would be dents everywhere. Stuff was breaking. So my grandfather was like, "You gotta give him a real kit, cause this little baby kit's not gonna last any longer." So they went to the pawn shop. My dad, I think he pawned his bass amp to get
Wow.
me a drum set. So my mother, he didn't know this. She didn't know this. My dad, he pawns his bass amp, comes to the house with this giant kit. So mind you, I'm 5 years old. I'm like yay high. This drum set is bigger, larger than life to me. Like 5 different toms, all these cymbals, and I can't even reach the snare drum. And my dad is sitting there. My mom was so upset, and he was like, "He'll grow into it," which I did. Cause that kit ended up being my only kit that I had through middle school and high school to practice on. So I was like, that became my kit. But excuse me, I had my father and my uncle play drums as well. My mother's brother, and he was a little younger. He was around the like 80s, 90s, so he wasn't so much old school. He had like the hip hop era.
Okay.
So then when I got older and I started trying to find stuff on my own on the internet, I found Prince's drummer, John Blackwell. Now I didn't really dig much into Prince. I take you back 2004 when I first got real big into like secular music because up until then it was all church. So Prince was on his musicology tour, and I met my cousin-in-law, soon-to-be cousin-in-law. His name was Todd Johnson, Reverend Todd Johnson of Second Baptist Church. He married my cousin, and he's like, "Oh, check out this CD of Prince's One Night Alone." Like, what is this Prince One Night Alone? So he puts it in this CD player. We're on a road trip to North Carolina, and I'm like listening to all this stuff, and like my head was like expanding with all these like ideas and vocabulary. Like, what is this? Who is this drummer? So John Blackwell was his name, and he is a dynamite drummer. One of the best. Like I model my style. If I model my style off of anybody, I model it off of him. Like everything's nice and open and funky and fat and like musical. Because some drummers don't play nowadays very musical. They don't play with the music. They don't play things to fill stuff in and kind of just play the beat at big fields and they let it go. I try to play as musically as possible. That's what I learned from John. And as I got older, of course, I got other influences in jazz and Buddy Rich and Philly Joe Jones and Max Roach and all these other drummers that I take from. And like people ask me, they're like, "What is your style?" And like, we can't pin your style down. I try to take from everybody I get and mold it into my own. And that's what John Blackwell taught you. You got to take whatever everybody's teaching you and for yourself.